Shy XL, man. And let me tell you something. We different over here. We big steppers. Let's go.
Go get a big stepper. Hard body, one West rapper. Put on for my king, my niggas. Certified one West hitters, whoa. Go get a big stepper. Hard body, one West rapper. Put on for my king, my niggas. Certified one West hitters, whoa. Yo, what you say? No, we don't play you out your mind. Watch what you say, that type of shit could get you lined. And if you search, then let me tell you what you'll find. The city is mine. Just a mud who became the pick of the litter. Now my name ring bells when you talk heavy hitters. Nice nigga, but don't make me transform like Thriller. Sam Cooke a nigga beat like I was born by the river. Go get her, you piss her, you get off of the shitter. Can't put you in the spotlight, you niggas are with her. Keep an eye open round for any nigga that slither. Cause it ain't no sunshine here like Bill Withers, whoa. Fuck you know about this life I live. How you gon' talk to me like I ain't lose no rib? Like I ain't lose no crib, ain't lose no kid. Ain't sleep in my car and I ain't lose no gig. Shit, I never gave an order that I ain't did. And I ain't never take a fucking thing that I wouldn't give. Always kept it a bill, homie, I ain't fib. And if I had to go sit, then I just do my bid. Yo, my whole team full of steel beams we can't fold. Your whole circle full of some squares you can't roll. That's why we always take it to levels you can't go. Talk shit, but you can see me with these hands though. If looks to kill like Cyclops, these niggas wanna see me in Pine Box. Know that on my watch, got a better chance to rewind clocks. When you quit nigga when time stops, bitch. Go get a big stepper. Hard body, one West rapper. Put on for my king, my niggas. Certified one West hitters, whoa. Go get a big stepper. Hard body, one West rapper. Put on for my king, my niggas. Certified one West hitters, whoa.
This flow is award-winning. Torment him, bomb to death, I'm bored with him. Trash him, throw him away with the has-beens. Ice cold with the flow, I'm Alaskan. You was in the fucking jungle in the past tense. I be with the lions, they my friends, Carol Baskins. And like her, they'll never find a body. Tiger stripe tracksuit, feeling like Joe Exotic. Shit, I don't know what it is, but I know I got it. Feeling like Alonzo, surgical with the shotty. All you see is skull and bones, Illuminati. Probably, I be the illest nigga to do it. I just talk shit on the beat and they call it music. I just come provide you with heat, remain the coolest. You ain't never been in the street with all the shooters. I was sipping yak with rioters and looters. Gotta keep my boots laid, shoot straight. Run up on you with the deuce 8 in a screw face. It's bad out here, my style effortless. 2 hands hugging a Ruger, so affectionate. Lot of suckers don't want war, I'm respecting it. Biggest stepper, snatch your plate, the hood starving. Cause they got beard shoe trades like James Harden. Straight from NY to Philly, we still mobbing.
Go get a big stepper. Hard body, one West rapper. Put on for my king, my niggas. Certified one West hitters, whoa. Go get a big stepper. Hard body, one West rapper. Put on for my king, my niggas. Certified one West hitters, whoa. 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 Whoa.
Alright. We gonna take it to the new school right now. My man Shaw. South Cat. Holding it down. You know we waiting on y'all. We sit back waiting on them chariots. Hey yo Shaw. Let them know. Come on.
Talking about how much money you got, but in reality the Lord just got you there to watch it fall. What's gonna save you in the end, boy, if you don't know, comprehend. Choose knowledge over silver and gold. No, we ain't the same, I'm in the UPK. Ordained by the Lord to drop the jewels to poverty. The poverty, it looks so wild when we out on this bitch. And no, we don't play no games, so stay home, little kids. It's like a sword what we say, but it's in the game like EA. Boy, know your lane like freeways, or I have to see like CJ. I got my grind and replay, but I want your life like relay. I'm at they neck, cause I'm up next, nigga. In my chariot, I pick you up from uptown. Niggas swear they gotta hit, we'll batter up now. But we are not the same. I'm a priest and prophet, ties for me. My people starving like some damn puppies. I'm a big dog, use a damn puppet. The lowest nigga in the school can probably show you something. Somebody bring me some wine. Is it my baby? That's Lil' Bae. I call her that cause she wine. I'm in my mood, that's all the way. I should have been named prime time. But I'm a prince, so call me Shaw, and I'll be quite fine. Yeah. Tear it and I'm whipping. I whip it like a new slave, the rose is different. Whip a devil for fun cause he looks suspicious. Can't take the heat, will get your pussy ass off my list. Remember the days of old, could have booked the vision. I got a penny in my pocket, so I can't afford to skip it. Can't afford to forget it. Affected by it, me and my niggas. Dear Lord, let me get them, okay. In my chariot, I pick you up from uptown. Uptown. Hey, niggas swear they gotta hit, we'll batter up now. Up now. But we are not the same. I'm a priest in private, okay.
You're
27 Club.
All right, gang, let's really nail it this time. Here we go. A 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4.
Been in this shit for some years, I ain't never left. Nigga try to save his life like he's scared of death. I got Hillstar on my body, bitch, I'm heaven sent. Hey, this UP ain't nothing, we on fellowship. Been in this shit for some years, I ain't never left. Nigga try to save his life like he's scared of death. I got Hillstar on my body, bitch, I'm heaven sent. Hey, this UP ain't nothing, we on fellowship. Florida Lee on my top, this a Saints hat. This the third Kempy been in, he a J-Cat. Nigga tryna steal the sauce, yeah, I hate that. But I ain't make the rules, I can't change that. New bottle, new wine, yeah, I can't crack. Look, flag on the play, they grabbing face masks. Niggas always saving hoes where your cape at. The only killer that you know without no face tag. Hell yeah, my bitch bad, Proverbs 31, yeah. This is not a drill, I be 30'd up, yeah. He about to crack the sky, you better hurry up. It's all bad when you see us hang that jersey up. It's mad brick, I got the blick with my cover on. He a fed, he a op, got his cover blown. Look, I'm really outside without no scully on. It's one West, bitch, I'm on with my brothers on. He got ranked, then he left, he broke another oath. I got the plate, we about to take another zone. They was sleeping on the team, now they comatose. Left his brother out to dry, I guess he wanna fall. Put the oil on his head, that's another soul. I try to tell him we a pro, don't do this shit at home. She unhappy, left her man, she a 304. He try to justify that shit, he broke the penal code. Been in this shit for some years, I ain't never left. Nigga try to save his life like he's scared of death. I got Hillstar on my body, bitch, I'm heaven sent. Hey, this UP ain't nothing, we on fellowship. Been in this shit for some years, I ain't never left. Nigga try to save his life like he's scared of death. I got Hillstar on my body, bitch, I'm heaven sent. Hey, this UP ain't nothing, we on fellowship. Gotta watch these niggas, they be cointel. Lil' bro ain't never killed nobody, but I know he will. It's on me everywhere I go, yeah, that's the holy seal. My niggas itching when it's up, you better not touch a chair. Ooh, I'm with the extra, that's off the back. He ain't loyal to his brothers, how you follow that? She either working with her hands or she off her bag. Broke bitches, yeah, they done that give me a heart attack. You see the banner, but my head, I'm a part of that. These niggas cowards, pussies, we don't want no parts in that. They let our warrior out of prison, he ain't going back. And don't be speaking on the truth, cause we with all of that. Look, before they started dissing, they was fans first. You will never catch me digging in no man purse. Really put my brick in, that's why my hands hurt. And don't be speaking bullshit, that make my head hurt. Look, I done burn my fingers from the Michael Drake. For the brotherhood, I done threw my life away. I never see him, tell him come out from their hiding place. We can't do it, we told them we gon' find a way. They'd rather march 1,000 deep, we rather feed the people. They wouldn't put on all black, now he reading Hebrew. UPK the standard if you speak on Hebrew. Don't think they solid, get with them niggas just gon' leave you. Been in this shit for some years, I ain't never left. Nigga try to save his life like he's scared of death. I got Hillstar on my body, bitch, I'm heaven sent. Hey, this UPK ain't nothing, we on fellowship. Been in this shit for some years, I ain't never left. Nigga try to save his life like he's scared of death. I got Hillstar on my body, bitch, I'm heaven sent. Hey, this UPK ain't nothing, we on fellowship.
Clap it up. Shalom, Milwaukee. Y'all about some y'all shout out the thumb to the brothers. Y'all small out them about some y'all shout out to the sisters. We are the Isupk Mke, the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, established in 1969, 1 West on the 25th Street, Harlem, New York. We're led by Commander General Yohana. We are not affiliated with any other organization. Israel, pay your tithes, man. Go to isupk.com, check in. Go find that school near you. Put your brick in, man. Let's build this. Let's rebuild this nation. We got a lot of work to do. And some of that, as the title of this class is mentioned, and it's like, let me stepping in for the law class for Officer 500 Canunya, Recent Officer 1000 Monkey Bar. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Feel free to engage in the chat. Looks like we're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram. So anybody got any questions? If you want to keep it more to the title of the topic of law, that'd be the recommended category to stick with. Otherwise, any and all other questions would be respectively entertained if you're not just trolling and you seriously have an inquiry about it. So to jump right into it, the concept of the law. Got a lot of people kind of, I think, missing not just the context, the application. When we're talking about law, it's going to be really one of two things. The commandments that we were told to keep, which includes tithes, high holy days, Sabbath service setups and practices, things like that. And the law as the punishment that gets dealt out for breaking certain laws. The dietary laws, high holy days, garments, even sexuality and identity. A lot of people, they're very modern times. We're very dependent on just what makes us feel good, what we consider to be, good or bad traits, attributes, deeds. And you feel like that you're safe with just leaving it right there, that you don't need this, book thousands of years old telling niggas what to do that was written by goat herders. There's a lot of wisdom in the Bible that mankind has already benefited from. And it having been properly applied, everybody can benefit from these laws, statutes, and commandments. Nobody should be celebrating Christmas, birthdays, pagan customs, right? Also, nobody should be on drugs. Nobody should be unaliving anybody. Nobody should be stealing from anybody. Now, we're going to get to the concept of slavery. A lot of people don't like that word. Immediately, that warm and fuzzy feeling goes away when you think about what's been done in America. We're talking about war crimes against humanity that have just been sophisticated. That hasn't really stopped. And just right here in America, let alone what's going on in foreign countries. So now when we think about slavery, you think about what's been dealt here, how people here have dealt with that, how they've applied that concept. And then, the whole word slave coming from Slavs, because, white people, not to say that they were the first people who had started that practice, but I believe that's just the term that caught. Because there are other terms that would be available to use also, but slave is the most common one, having its origins in what is that? Not Iceland, Sweden, or somewhere like that. It's a European country. Why can't we just have laws that say slavery is bad? And then, everything will be good. you're never going to get around having workers.
That's right.
So again, the concept of it needs to be approached with practicality. There's always going to be that dichotomy. I don't think mankind is ever going to get away from it. And that doesn't mean that you have to be a cruel individual. That doesn't mean that you got to kidnap and human traffic. But we are talking about buying and selling people for money for labor. We're doing it right now. If you've got a job, you're a slave by that definition. It's not that big of a deal. Just again, the cruelty that we faced, that's where people make the connection. And then they just completely disconnect from the culture of the Bible. Because you cannot kidnap a man. You can't steal people. And then like sell them out on the slave market. That's not how we get down. You're going to see, culturally, historically, I should say, you're going to see how, people had went into agreements. Their time, their body for money, for room and board, for housing and provisions and whatnot. Even for marriage. Who was it? Jacob? Jacob worked 14 years.
That's right.
For one sister. He slaved his ass off for that.
The one.
Good.
He worked 7 years for one sister and 7 years for another sister.
Well, technically 14 for that one sister because he didn't even want no girl.
Because he didn't know he
right.
Lucky out of one. He didn't know he was courting that other her sister.
Yeah, LeBron sent him off. And he didn't have a very I guess good relationship with was it Leah? He was after Rachel the whole time.
Right.
He got Leah. But he didn't abuse her. He didn't mistreat her. He honored his duty as a husband. But that's not what he was going for. So now, and I guess that's kind of an odd segue. There is no law of polygamy or monogamy in the Bible.
That's right.
There is no law for or against. It's just given the capacity of the man to have more than one wife if he is capable of it. It's not something that should be taken into lightly. One woman, it's that can be a challenge in itself. 2, 4, 6, 8. That can be taxing on a man. Not just
physically, mentally. Women they're exhausting sometimes.
That's right.
They're
That's right.
We love our sisters, but good night.
That's right.
Not to say that we're any easier to deal with. I know we, both genders come. There's only the two, by the way, but comes with their pros and cons. Yeah, right. So I guess where I like to kind of go to, you can learn about the law in a lot of the different books, Exodus, Leviticus, Deuteronomy, the Messianic, or not the Messianic, the Mosaic laws, they call it. Even though the law had been established with Adam, that breath of life, when he was getting raised up from the dust, that was him being taught the law, which defines the Israelite culture. That's what set us aside from everybody else. That's what made us different. But I think in the New Testament is where people have the biggest issue with it. If we're just having an Old Testament discussion, nobody can really refute the law that's in place. They want to take it off the table, though, when we talk about the New Testament and Yahushua, who the world would ignorantly call Jesus Christ. And there's nothing wrong with using Jesus Christ either. I don't want to hear shit about the letter J only existing, 500 years ago or something like that. It's not that big of a deal. If that's your familiarity, if that helps you still understand and grasp the people of the book that we're talking about in the history, fine. Yeshua, okay. Ugly. Just like my voice on the microphone, it's horrible. That's why you're not going to see me rapping anytime soon. I sound dumb. I get it. It's all right. But you know, he says himself. Let's pull this up if we could. Give me 1 second. Let me just pull a couple of these precepts. It was in Matthew chapter 5, verse 17. Starting there.
Matthew chapter 5, verse 17. Think not that I am come to destroy the law.
Now that's, you know, we could almost just end it right there. And that should be, you know, surmise the conversation. But that's not enough for people. They're going to try to squirm their way out of it like they're lawyers and shit too.
That's right.
You're talking again. Well, these laws define the Israelite culture. If we take those laws off the table, there ain't going to be no difference between us and a savage eating skull soup in a cave. Because there's nothing that will prevent that person, because of their culture, there's no laws governing them versus what we've already had in place. I think we can agree that according to Israelite standard, cannibalism is a no-no. So now if you've got, if there's no distinction between us, then again, going back to just what makes people feel good, what makes people happy, you can do whatever you want so long as you're not hurting anybody is kind of the excuse that people run with.
Right.
Even though hurting is subjective. I'm very offended by the LGBT community. I'm extremely offended by that. I think homosexuality is disgusting. I think it is vile. I think it is damaging to the moral fabric of the nuclear family.
That's right.
It destroys us completely as a people. But you know, they're just doing things behind closed doors that got nothing to do with me. They're not doing anything right in front of my face.
They're not doing
it in our house. You know what I'm saying? It's so we shouldn't have any issue with it. But now taking it off of my personal feelings, what it does to society. We're looking at society, because by that metric, then we shouldn't have any problems with drugs if you're not doing drugs, right? Because it's not hurting you, but we can see the effect that it has on society.
That's right.
So when we're talking about the law, again, it's bigger than your individual feelings. This is what constitutes the civility of the people. What governs us to be able to go up and down the street peaceably with everybody else. Because even though we're stuck in Milwaukee and we're stuck in America and we're stuck around all these heathens, practicing all types of God knows what, you know, we've got laws of, you know, unjustly harming people. You can't do that. You can't be, but people want to say, well, you know, homosexuality is so bad, and according to the Torah, you should be stoning people to death. Why aren't you? The simple answer is because we're not in our kingdom.
That's right.
If this were our kingdom, you would be seeing things happen on a very serious level. Until there's no more to charge, so there's no more people of that nature that can be found guilty of those crimes.
That's right.
They would be eradicated. And I know that sounds so harsh. Rabah?
Shalaki Adawan, and to add on what you're saying, God don't like them people, so we gotta destroy them people because they messing up God's kingdom.
They're messing up
the foundation of the earth.
They're messing up a very good thing.
That's right.
You know, these kids deserve something better. And again, the law, statutes, and commandments of the
the God of Israel protects that with these outlines. So now, this guy that everybody the world over had mistaken for a blonde-haired, blue-eyed pansy he is here to uphold the law. He took the law so serious to the point where it got him killed.
That's right.
Like, he took it to the cross with him. He took it all the way to his death. And he demonstrated how we were supposed to apply it as well. So why aren't we stoning anybody right now? Because again, this isn't our kingdom. But now, I don't say now more than ever, but with the influences that we've had for hundreds of years in this country under this oppressor, our people are manipulated, and they're lost, they are destroyed, they are mixed up in a racket that is, that's done a lot of damage. But again, because it feels good to certain people, and because unfortunate things that happened to them when they were younger turned them into something contrary to nature. They think that they were born that way, and they'll raise their children in that environment. But he has not come to destroy them. Keep reading. This wasn't some soft, fair-skinned, bright, bubbly, hippie. He was an austere man.
That's right.
He took his culture very serious. He took the preservation of the culture very serious. So he's letting them. He's in a battle right now, and he's letting these people know, like, listen, I'm not come to destroy the law. Keep going.
Or the prophets.
And the prophets, prior to, they had also maintained the law. That's where we, get our records, passed down from these brothers. So the records that they had maintained, the standard that they had set as well, he's not coming to destroy the law or the prophets. Keep going.
I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill.
But to fulfill. So he came here to keep the law in its entirety. Now he's giving people, and it's like that. That's kind of where what I want to get back to. Mercy is part of that law too. Charity is part of that law too. So these people right now are people that are under the illusion of, no harm, no foul, or no foul, no harm. I said that wrong, backwards. Either way. This is an opportunity for them right now to reevaluate their life and to recondition their spirit so that they can, Revelations chapter 18:4, come out of her, my people, so that they don't have to partake in AIDS and monkeypox and genital mutilation from transitional surgery, hormonal drugs that cause more instability. And again, even if we just talk about the food, there's nothing wrong with not eating shellfish. Absolutely nothing wrong. That's one of the easiest things you can. There's a lot of work. There's a big industry and a lot of work that goes into catch crabs and lobsters and all that. All these fishing boats and things. You gotta ride this out through storms and choppy water in the middle of the ocean for some very expensive cockroaches. Like, to me, that's a little crazy. I think that's unnecessary, especially considering the history of things like lobsters. People used to look at that as peasant food. That was peasant food. And now it's supposed to be delicacy. I don't care how good you make it taste.
That's right.
It wasn't meant for human consumption.
That's right.
Pig. They make that so available and so cheap. And then pigs, they reproduce quick. Their offspring grows pretty quick. To a mature age where you can
where they would what's the word I'm looking for? To a mature age enough to where they can be consumed by the market, I should say.
That's right.
Just like, we don't do baby animals. We let the animals grow up to a mature age, where now it's fit to divide that joint. But you got a lot of the standard in the market today. It's you got enough money for it. Listen, you can buy whatever. They've got, and I think it's Japan. They got placenta soup. Placenta soup, the stuff that comes out of a woman when they give birth, that joint, that afterbirth, you can get a dish of that. It's crazy what people are into, and again, these laws set us aside from them.
Hey, Salaki, if I could,
good.
What you're saying is so heavy. We've been subjugated to eating food from food that peasants eat, and whole time when people become millionaires, they don't eat shrimp, crab, and lobster. Really they eat like plant-based stuff.
Yeah, ain't that some shit?
Salaki.
Absolutely, yeah. That's a damn good point. Yeah, they go straight vegan. There's a number of other terms that they use. It's similar to vegan, but damn, I don't even know what the classifications are anymore. It seems to get so tricky and complicated. And then they think that they're better than everybody because they eat quinoa salads, and it's a stupid argument to have. But again, they were having those same arguments back then too. But that was just more of I don't want to say status battle, but a know-it-all kind of smarty pants battle.
That's right.
The Lord, gave us all the green herbs and plants, and I'm paraphrasing, for meat. Ain't nobody eating poison ivy though. Not that I've seen yet. I'm sure somebody's got a way figured out of how to prepare that to make so it doesn't do to your insides what it does to your outsides. But nobody's fighting for poison ivy rights. And then that whole argument too, like, listen, your almond toast, your avocado spread, and all that, like, you got to clear out so much acreage. You're destroying, the habitats of so many bugs and animals for, your soy plants. That if we were to tally these back to back, vegans are probably worse for the environment than meat eaters. But again, there is no law in here that Yahushua came to stand by saying that you have to eat meat or your vegetables, just certain kinds of meat. So a lot of times when we're talking about like the different food in the scriptures, it doesn't have to be that specific. If it's a cow, if it's a deer or anything that they were eating, when they were talking about getting food for whatever high holy day or event that they were going to, or like when Paul was talking about whatever sold in the shambles. We according to the law, I think we would all agree that Paul is not, well, I can't say all because I do know some people that completely butcher the scriptures and have no understanding of what Paul was talking about. But when he's going shopping in them shambles looking for a food, he's not eyeing out bats.
That's right.
He'd be only eyeing out lawful foods, again, according to Israel. And if we were to, if you just want to enjoy your salad, cool. Nothing wrong with that. Salads are awesome. If you want a steak, though, nothing wrong with that either. So, I mean, some of the differences that people argue about the law, it's just so that they can have a license it's so that they can feel good about breaking the law. That's the whole mechanism behind it. Otherwise, it would just be an easy thing to not celebrate Halloween. But it's for the kids, so you got to make them happy, right? Salaki, keep going, Rapa, 18.
For very I say to you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no ways
wise
pass from the law, till all be fulfilled.
So now, we don't remove anything from the law. There's a time and a place for how we apply it. I don't have an orchard to have to keep some of the agricultural laws. So, that just wouldn't apply to us. If you don't have any kids, you can't keep the circumcision laws on the 8th day for them, for boys. If you don't have any daughters, if you don't have a wife or anything like that, if you're not a female, the laws regarding, getting your flower or your monthly cycle, that it doesn't apply to you. So we're not talking, people have to look at the context on what's being discussed here.
That's right.
And he's simply saying, listen, these laws, this culture it will remain fully intact. We're not going to take anything off the table. Nothing's got to get changed. And people's concept of, again, just the application of the law. What are we talking about? Or the statutes or the punishments? When Paul was talking about, actually, I think it's going to get into it. Yeah, keep going. 19 and 20.
19. For whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and shall teach man so, he shall be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever shall do and teach them, he shall the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven.
So now again, if you're teaching, the dietary laws are done away with, and now you can start eating what would have been biblically labeled as unclean foods. If you're breaking these laws, you're teaching other people to break these laws, you're going to be counted the least in the kingdom. So now the whole thing with the kingdom too, that's another topic that I definitely want to get into. Probably that'll be for another day. But there's going to be stations in the kingdom. There's going to be a hierarchy in the kingdom. There's going to be people that are punished in the kingdom. We're not talking about, the heaven is, some remarkable, amusement park in the clouds. That's not the kingdom of heaven. That's not the God's kingdom. That's going to be handed, that's going to be established here on earth. It's going to be carried out right here. In the Lord's Prayer, was that Matthew chapter 6, verses 9 through, 13, 18? 9 through 18. It says, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So believe it or not, in the kingdom of heaven, you're going to have people living good at the top, well, with the authority and the power, and you're going to have people living in the bottom of society with no authority, no riches, that would be, I don't want to say necessarily looked down on, but they're going to be least in the kingdom of heaven.
That's right.
You're going to live out your judgment as being the least in the kingdom of heaven. So you're going to see the Israelites, even within the Israelite community too. Not everybody's going to be sitting on the throne. It just doesn't work that way. That's not what this is. But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. Your reputation, it means quite a bit to the Most High, and we're just so used to risking it all for fame, for pleasure, for instant gratification, compulsion, addiction, to try to maybe even please somebody else, hoping that we get their approval. And we don't take enough time as a people to restore our reputation with God. And that's something that Yahushua had definitely excelled at, because his reputation was flawless. He was a no-nonsense king, would be his rightful station. He was a no-nonsense kind of brother, though. But he wasn't a tyrant. To be clear, the nation of Israel, that we almost fit every political category in some aspect. But this is definitely a dictatorship. And he's got his council, like he had the 12 disciples that roll with him. Every king has advisors. But we are also a commune, where we're also socialists, we're also a democracy, we're also a republic. Just depends on kind of the situation and what goes on. But this is definitely a dictatorship. So this is the standard that he's living by, a living example of how we are to keep the law. And what's I think so dynamic about it is how we keep the law under oppression. Because again, they were under Roman rulership, and the Roman way of life was contrary to the Israelite way of life.
That's right.
And they would always try to trip them up with that too, to try to get them in trouble. Living by the law of the land doesn't mean that you have to transgress the laws of God. Like Captain Dark says this all the time. Show me the laws that we can't keep, that it'd be impossible to. We keep the Sabbath, keep the high holy days. We keep the dietary laws. I don't see what the problem is. It just there's normally just something that you don't want to stop doing. You don't want to answer to another man, even though you do. You answer to that man at your job, you answer to that man in your house, and then some of y'all you end up answering to your kids.
That's right.
So I think it's a petty argument to bring up to try to refute. Or refuse, I should say, to try to refuse getting an order when it's you're already doing it just for somebody else. You're doing it for our enemy instead of doing it for your people.
That's right.
Some people's ego, some people's it might even just be what's the word I'm looking for? A safety blanket that you're not ready to throw away yet. Security blanket, that's what I was looking for. To humble yourself for a cause that's greater than your own self-interest. But again, we're talking about reestablishing a nation. That's why these laws are so important to keep intact. Even all the way, even the smallest, the least of these laws, the least of these commandments. For a lot of times, I think for most people, I think we would all consider the dietary laws probably, on the easier side of things to keep. But we're just conditioned. We're conditioned with the food. We're conditioned with the entertainment, the media, all the stimulus that's available out here, that distract us from keeping to your culture. Read verse 20.
Verse 20. For I say unto you, till
Slack it. Think you read verse 20. Sounds like you're about to go back to 18.
I'm on verse 20.
All right, let's.
Matthew chapter 5, verse 20. For I say unto you that except the righteousness that exceeds the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, ye shall in no case enter into the kingdom of heaven.
So now the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees. What was their righteousness consistent of?
I think we skipped 19.
No, we covered 19. We covered 19. Talking about the least and the greatest in the kingdom.
No, that's 18.
No, I'm looking at it right here too. We got 19.
Okay.
We covered 19. The what? The righteousness of the Pharisees. They called themselves staunch, keeping the law. We see them getting busted out by Yahushua too, though, because find me the scripture where he says, "Ye omit the weightier matters of the law." Paraphrasing, because they'll force certain aspects of it, like tithes. Of course, no Christians, the law is all done away with except for give me money. That's still very much on the table with the churches. You got a lot of individuals out there who will, say that that's ridiculous, paying tithes and things like that. You're paying taxes today. It's the same thing. What do they say that they're using the tax money for? Municipalities, civic, what's the word? Civic, not civic duties, but road construction and repair, police and firefighters, hospitals and things like that. That these taxes are supposed to go through different government programs, that serve the public. But then we also see a lot of corruption in taxes as well. Our tax dollars, everybody's so mad about that run to the voting booths when a new tax is proposed, yelling at your alderman and the governor and the mayor and all that. It's a money game. It's hard not to find corruption when there's money involved. So now they'll say the same thing about this prestigious organization, the UPK, under command of Jonah Yohana. And again, not knowing what the hell they're talking about. We're not embezzling no funds. We're not extorting anybody for their money. Our wives pay as well. This is how we take care of our people when things get rough. We all work 9 to 5s. Or some brothers and sisters got their own businesses that they're able to support themselves and their families on, that they pay tithes with. If you're ever in a hardship, and there's been a lot of people even outside of the school that have received some of the benefits of these ties that we kick in. Rent, emergencies, medical. There's been a lot of brotherhood extended, and people understand it when they need it. Our prison program too. Our prison program, we kick in for a lot of brothers and sisters that have been incarcerated, making sure that they can have some level of comfort while they're locked down for however long their sentence is. Because it sucks in there. We want to make sure that they can, to the best of our abilities, gain access to the basic necessities of having to be in there. Hygiene. We want to make sure that they can still stay keep up with a nutritious diet, that they're not starving in there.
That's right.
So we definitely put a lot of effort into this. Pop.
I'll get Matthew chapter 23 and 23.
Let me get there with you. You said 23 and 23?
Yep.
Good.
We got a comment online on Twitch. It says,
now, can I see the comment on StreamYard? Oh, okay.
Kind of one console.
You're talking about, I don't even want to say the name.
That's a rough situation right there.
Iran is blah, blah, blah. You lot, bro. Bro, are you British or something? You lot? Who talks like that? Oh, what's OFC office? What office? It's about money with you lot. Survival's about money. It's about resources.
Right.
You need. I don't care how you want to. No, thank you. How you want to mince those words. That's the currency that's out here. It's in America. I don't know what you guys are doing out there. Pounds, euros, whatnot. If you have your own property, and again, look at the people that's in control. This is the paradigm that they established. So in order to, live without the headache of them breathing down your neck every 5 seconds, you pay your taxes. You keep the laws of the land. I don't know what the big deal is about money.
Sluggy.
Good.
I don't think he understands that even though Iran is doing what they're doing, they're going to be blown into smithereens too when Christ returns.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Like dude, it ain't gonna be sweet for nobody. If you're not an Israelite, period. Listen, it's gonna be a long day. It's gonna be a long day. Like if you go into the history books, like the Trail of Tears, that was a long walk.
That's right.
The walks can get longer than that. So now, if you are an Israelite and if you're not keeping to your culture, brother, sister, listen, man, get it together. Yeah, again, give me Revelations 18:4, man. I don't know if y'all reading this book right. Maybe I'm missing something over here, but yeah, to hell with Iran, to hell with Israel. And again, if you understand the context that I'm talking about the inhabitants that rule in that land right now, the Israeli people. They are not Israelites by blood, but they are Israeli. Yeah, to hell with them, to hell with Russia, to hell with Ukraine, to hell with France, to hell with Spain, to hell with China, to hell with Japan, to hell with Africa.
That's right.
If they're not doing anything to help push not just our culture, but like it says, the covenant that the Most High made with Abraham. Those people that bless you, they'll get blessed. People that curse you, they'll get cursed. Anybody pushing against the UPK, when them chickens come home to roost, like, I don't want to hear shit. No apologies. No, you were right. There's going to be a lot of I told you so's. And, you know, it's just going to be what it is. And it's going to be rough. It's going to be a long, long day for you people. But if you choose to, for example, put your money into this school, provide refuge for our so-called illegal immigrant brothers and sisters that are running from the ICE agents. Help signing all your land over to the tribes that used to live where you are living so comfortably in America, and give them their ancestral homelands back. You know, I don't want to hear it. That's what we are. This is what we are battling here in this school. To bring back not just our way of life, but while we're here in this hell until it cracks off, you know, a better quality of life, a little bit less stress. Iran's going through what Iran's gonna go through. That's a them thing. And I mean, until it hits American soil, or because war does have an effect on the economy. So inflation, prices getting jacked up, the dollar maybe losing value, even completely getting exchanged, with a different form of currency. All that can happen. That's not going to stop us from extending brotherhood and sisterhood to each other and providing safe spaces for our people.
That's right.
So yeah, fuck Iran, slacking to me about slacking. Like that's I don't care about that. And you complaining about money, I don't know what your problem is with that. You use money too.
That's right.
We just use it together to improve whatever conditions we might be faced with, or for the events. The Midwest Fire Weekend, listen, that's coming up July 31st through August 3rd. That comes out of our pockets.
That's right.
We work very hard to provide to make sure that we've got enough food for the events, enough water, enough ice, enough tents, enough tables, enough plasticware, enough bottles to go around, enough gas for brothers and sisters to get to and from. If somebody gets stranded, how are you gonna help them? You might not be able to walk down, to a different city and fix their flat tire. They might need a couple dollars to help. I don't know if AAA or whatever to help. They got to get their car towed. They might need a couple dollars. You got to send them some money, but they can go to this school and they can put in that request. They can contact the camp leader or if they're not in the school, whoever they might know, I guess. I don't know too many people that ain't here, at least on a personal level. That's how we get shit done, man. That's how we keep it moving. I don't know what the problem is. Listen, I hate the concept of money myself too, but this is what we need to use right now. This is what's available. These are the dynamics that are set, that the stage is set by.
Right.
So it's get over it. I don't get it. I don't get it. Give me your money. I don't get it. Give me your money. Shut up. Give me your money. It's that simple. Isupk.com. Shut up. Give me your money. Just keep it going. We actually, just speaking on that topic real quick, we had a sister, Stocking, who we thought may have been a sister, the way that she was presenting herself. But she needed like some personal, not loans, but a little bit of relief. So we had initially helped her out. Just a little bit of gas in the tank and things like that. Again, we're not rich people by any means right now, but we do okay, especially together. Turns out that she was an Edomite, so let her know, just flat out, kind of bad news, sucks for you a little bit. But these are, you're asking for kind of a personal handout. We have every right to prioritize our resources, our finances, to serve our peoples and our needs first. Any public events that we might have, though, where we're giving out donations, food, clothing, which we do a lot of, Lord allow, we'll be able to get this some of these grants and whatnot kicked off in Milwaukee soon, so that we can join in that fight as well. But I let these heathens know, listen, you can come on to one of these events, you can get whatever kind of help you need. But again, we have that right to prioritize our charity, for our people first. So again, it's going to sound harsh, and that sounds, somebody that's in need, struggling with a job and living out of their vehicle, asking for a little bit of help, and you couldn't help them. No, I couldn't, because we need gas money too. We got people over here that are also hungry. We got other Israelites that again by blood that might not acknowledge it or know it like that, but we've got our family to prioritize. Y'all can catch some crumbs though at the end. But it's like we got Revelations.
Come, sir.
If you could.
The book of Revelations, chapter 18 and verse 4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues.
And that's the hell that we get ourselves into when we try to live like that. Look at Diddy. Trying to live like he's Epstein. Look what happened to Epstein.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? I think so far, I still haven't seen the criminal charges that everybody keeps on saying that he's been, guilty of. He's just a sick dude. He's just a freak. Apparently, it seems he's a sodomite. He did whoop Cassie's ass though. So I think those would be some fair charges to drop on the brother. But I keep on hearing this RICO thing that he's supposed to be getting hit with. I haven't seen the evidence for what he's supposed to be guilty of. Then, at least with Epstein, they were trafficking children and what.
That's right.
That was definitely on a different level of vile. But I don't know if Diddy was ever partied with him. If he was ever on that manifesto, like the Clintons were, I think the Kennedys were, I think Trump was. I think there was a whole lot of famous white people out there that oh my God, no, they'd never do such a thing. Yeah, they would. I profile the hell out of just off the bat. That keeps us safe. I'm not going to sit there and try to waste my time. Let me get to know the guy. No, we're good. What do we have next? Yeah, so 18, it's like Revelation 18:4, come out of my people, so that you be not partakers of our sins. Zephaniah chapter 2, verse 1, gather together. And I'm paraphrasing this real quick, verses 1 and 2. Gather together, O nation not desired, before the fierce and angry day of the Lord comes upon you.
Salakia, sir.
Go ahead.
If I could, just to bring a clarification of what you just said. Epstein and rapper Diddy were very closely associated with each other.
They were buddies. Yeah.
Kind of the one kind.
Actually, that makes sense. Look what happened to that man's life trying to live like these devils. Look at the lives that he had affected and ruined himself trying to live like that for his own pleasure, for his own gains, for his carnality. Look at the lives that he had destroyed. Look at the lives that Epstein had destroyed. Look what happened to Epstein. Look what's getting ready to happen to Diddy. So he's still an Israelite by blood. Lord be with the man. But if you're gonna cross these lines, how's it go? Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Like he's about to be, the first place winner. In a second here. It's a whole world. It's a whole culture that, again, is contrary to ours. Because if we look at the things that these people are doing according to the law of the Bible that was, again, directed to Israelites, how we were supposed to live our lives, we would see that it's, they don't mesh. So come out of her, before it's too damn late. Again, in the UPK, all the schools that we have all across the nation, internationally, even, in the UK and in Canada, Central and South America. The doors are open, but doors close. You know what I'm saying? And we're fighting like hell to keep them open for as many of us to come in. A lot of people are going to talk that 2/3 doctrine. They got a whole doctrine about this now too, and they kind of boast about it too. Listen, I understand that we might lose some people just because they're stuck in the sauce, but the goal is to get them all out. That's the whole operation here, to gather our people together to rebuild this nation so that they don't have to suffer and burn in thermonuclear war.
That's right.
But you can't do that if you're going to continue doing and selling drugs. If you're going to eat your unclean foods, if you're going to celebrate these pagan customs, you can't do that. You're going to get swept away with them.
That's right.
There's nothing wrong with not celebrating your birthday. I know it makes kids happy. They see it at school, but if you are what's the word I'm looking for here? Damn it. I don't want to say charitable to your children, but you're providing for them. You're surprising them with gifts, or maybe if they're doing good in school and whatnot, doing good around the house, you might surprise them with gifts and things anyway. They don't need one day out of the year to make them feel special. You can make them feel special and counted now, any day of the week.
That's right.
It's not that hard to not eat certain foods. It's some of the easiest things. We're getting told not to do a bunch of stuff. Literally, don't spend energy doing any of this. Don't spend your money on it. Don't take the time out of your day. The gas that it takes to go from to and from the store for shrimp, crab, and lobster and all that. It's the opposite of exertion. You don't have to put any effort into it, really. Stay home.
Salagi, if I could.
Good.
What you're saying is so heavy, is what even with the people that 2/3 doctrine, them people are not even sure if they're 1/3 or not. The scriptures say, "He that endured until the end, the same shall be saved."
Damn right.
You got a lot of people falling out the truth every day.
That's right.
It's another one bites the dust every day. So to have that 2/3 doctrine, it's just a showcase of pride,
right?
And it's showing that you're better than everybody else.
Yep. Or at least that you think you are. Listen, I hate seeing a brother or sister that used to be in the school lose their faith. It's that it's a goddamn scary thing to go through. And then to still walk around egotistical about it. Can't make we ain't forcing no crowns on nobody's head. Doors open for them too. Just man gets up 8 times, falls 7, gets up.
That's
8.
right.
We're trying to keep each other from falling, though.
That's right.
We don't want to see nobody fall. Sometimes it happens. That's why we're here to help, scoop you back up.
That's right.
But if you just want to be, some pompous bastard, and now all of a sudden everything, and you should have been the one calling the shots the whole time. It's going to be a long day. I'm trying to tell you. We're trying to give it to you nicely. It's going to fucking suck. Salaki, when it pops off, it's going to suck. You're not going to have anywhere to go. You're not going to know what to do. You can't trust them people in the world. But that's what we built here. I don't get it. I don't get it. Listen, make your mistakes, but goddamn, correct it. Listen to the counsel. If you can't get the counsel when you think that you deserve it or need it or something, you're just unhappy with the damn answer.
Keep on pushing for it. Stay off of Facebook. What the is wrong with you guys? Keep that shit off of Facebook. It's like I said, it's just a frustrating thing to see. When, especially since when a lot of these people, they've come here and they've seen lives change. They've seen their lives change. They've seen the strength that this provides. And then they have a stupid disagreement with somebody over something, and then they throw it all away. It's nothing that we can't get past. But again, if you're gonna sit there and play around with this, what are we supposed to do for them? Can't hold your hand all damn day. We got shit to do. It's good night. Let me get what was that, Matthew 23 and 23?
Matthew chapter 23 and 23. Matthew chapter 23 and verse 23.
Start at 20. Start at 20.
Matthew chapter 23 verse 20. Wherefore, whoso before,
therefore.
Whoso therefore shall swear by an altar, sworn by it, and by the things thereon. Verse 21.
So now verses 20, 21, and 22. This is like an old school, on my mama, on my kids, on my soul, on everything I love, kind of approach that normally when you hear people say that, you kind of know that they're full of shit. They're putting some life and death things, on their family, on their kids, on everything they love, knowing that they lying to you. So, and that's one of the problems that we had with these scribes and Pharisees back then, putting on the show, and for the public, for the people to not just gain their, admiration or fealty, but their to impose their authority on them, because they're the ones who serve in the temples and in altars. And again, that was all really according to the Old Testament that had been broken, but they still walk around like they about to sacrifice on the altar to atone for our sins. All right, let's just jump down to 23.
23. Woe unto you.
And that's another thing about this. It's not using some of the language that we're familiar with today, but if you know what the definition of woe was, it wasn't hello.
That's right.
It was death and destruction. Punishment and destruction. He's calling that onto them. Woe unto you. He's letting them know, listen, you're gonna be destroyed. Like it wasn't a nice, I know it sounds with the old English, it sounds so Shakespearean, so poetic. It's not. Like he was snapping on them right here.
That's right.
Good.
Scribe and Pharisee, hypocrites.
Hypocrites. Now again, that's a common word, right? People throw it around. It's not the F word. We're not calling them, female dogs. But hypocrites, that's also not. It's not a good word. It's not a positive affirmation. They're calling your character shitty here. You know what I'm saying? Like they're calling you out for being a liar, for being a cheat. Like this was not a nice, friendly exchange that they had. And so when people have this misconception of the Bible being all what's
trying to think of some movies that might give a good visual example of how people think this is supposed to look. Like even what you see like with the Pope, these the organs playing in the background, the censers with the incense swinging, these robes, gold and purple and red and all these bright colors, and these altar boys that God be with them, because that's got to be a rough job. That's not the culture. That's not in the Bible. None of what they do is in the Bible. And all these movies that we see about how, everybody's just all, head down, praying silently to themselves. We're talking about warriors here.
That's right.
It wasn't all peace and love, and it wasn't all quiet hymnals and shit. When David was singing those songs in Psalms, he was talking about like killing, wiping out tribes, wiping out whole peoples. He was talking about genocide damn near. Like we're not, white people mess this up. White people, they oh my God, they turn this into such a horse and pony show. Like that's not this. So he calling woe unto you scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites. Keep going.
For ye pay
tithes
to, for ye pay tithes of mint and anise and cumin.
Cumin. It's a spice. Cumin. Of mint and anise and cumin.
And omitted the weightiest matter of the law, judgment, mercy, and faith.
It's like we can drop that for right now. Just to focus on what was just said here. They did a lot of things for the outward appearance of it, because that's what they felt would make people respect them, acknowledge them, yield to their authority. But you can't. Sometimes you just can't see mercy. Sometimes you can't see faith. You can see mint and anise and cumin. We can go to a store right now and see it.
That's right.
And we can put that in a big, beautiful gold basket and present that to the table, to the school. I can show you all my receipts from all my paydays, when I pay my tithes, when I pay my camp fees. You can see all that. Sometimes you can't see brotherhood. You can't see counsel. Sometimes I'd say you can see it on the countenance of a man or a woman, of a brother or sister who's been affected by it, who's been redeemed by it, who's been shown mercy when they knew that they messed up and they should have got their life snatched. And, because it does happen today. The Most High can take out whoever the hell he want to take out, and you're gonna end up suffering again with America if you want to put all your eggs in that basket. If you want to bet on that horse to win, okay. The weightier matters of the law. What they were doing, like with the tithes, that I'd say tithes is also kind of one of those least laws. That's an easy thing for us to do. I ain't got no problem, putting my 10% or even sometimes 15%. Regarding how circumstances might affect my finances. But for us, that's an easy thing. For other people, that can be a struggle. Like Bruv Man here, whoever the heck this guy is. Yeah, I'm not saying that name, dude. I'm not saying that name at all. That sounds like it'd be an obstacle for him. And a lot of people want to talk about how food was the tithes.
it always got turned into coin. It always got turned into money. You can't fix a wagon wheel with corn, but you can fix it with some money because they can go buy the tools and the material needed to go fix that. You can't do that with green beans. But even, and like Katakatsis always says too, like even people that want to argue that, you know, it's supposed to be food, fruit and vegetables or whatever the hell you're growing, ain't nobody even sending that in either. You know, if you got a can of beans, all right, yeah, send them on through. We'll save that for the event, for any of our you know, public events, or anytime, you know, somebody might call the school and they might be in need of some green beans. I don't know. But there's an overlook in, again, the application of the law and how they do it from the outside just to make themselves look the part versus what they're actually doing to maintain the nation and to heal brothers and sisters that are broken, that are damaged, that are affected, that have been abused, that have been neglected, have been abandoned. You know what I'm saying? This is how we take care of the widows and the fatherless children.
That's right.
You're not going to do that with bread alone.
That's right.
We can feed them all day long, but we got to be able to maintain them.
That's right.
Clothes, you know, we can donate clothes all day long too, but, and especially for brothers and sisters that got the skill set of sewing or tailoring or seamstressing. I'm not exactly sure what the official title for that job would be, but you need money to go get the material for that, to buy the fabric, to buy the buttons, the thread, the needles for it, the machines. You know, there's a lot that goes into this that people just, again, overlook. But, you know, they'll swear by the temple, they'll swear by the altar, they'll swear by heaven. And they will lie their ass off. Let me get now Romans. Now Paul, let me get where is this? Romans 2. Romans is a heavy book because of, you know, again, the audience that it's talking to, which again is all Israelites. But we're talking about Israelites that, again, have been that have absorbed you know, the heathens' way of life. The Hellenistic Israelites that have been because at that time in that period of history, there was a point under rulership, you know, when the Greco-Roman empire was you know, on the rise. You can read about this in the Maccabees. How it was illegal to, as an Israelite, to carry out your customs, to live your identity, you know, openly. You couldn't identify yourself as an Israelite. You couldn't keep the Sabbath days. You couldn't keep the holy days. You know, it was outlawed. So now, after generations of that, because the Maccabees, that was maybe, I don't know, a couple hundred years maybe before this time with Paul, before Yahushua came on the scene.
That's right.
So we're talking about it being ingrained, you know, throughout generations of families, and the oppression that was inflicted on them to further push the outlaw of identifying as an Israelite. You know, we can read about that one sister who had the 7 sons, and they were all tortured, maimed, and murdered right in Slacker, unalive, right in front of her.
That's
down to the last youngest boy. And he said, "Mama, don't trip. You know, I'll see you next time." And she, you know, they didn't lose their faith. But you're talking about, you know, there's some families out there who couldn't have stomached, you know, going through something like that. So, and we saw something similar in effect with slavery here in America too. In order for, you know, our young men especially, who had kind of that rebellious militant spirit on them, that wanted to push back against their oppressor for their cruelty,
You know, their mothers would tell them, dude, you know, settle down. So they wanted to protect them. They wanted to see their kids live.
That's right.
So, you know, again, just years of conditioning of going unnoticed, of not being viewed as a threat. You know, don't get their attention. And, you know, some of the ways that would have been done would have been, you know, define their laws, you know, refusal of eating their foods, you know, celebrating, you know, their holidays. Those are things that if you don't do, you know, you can get ostracized for. Like, and we can see that even right now today at school. Like, you know, our kids, we don't celebrate no pagan customs, Christmases, birthdays, Thanksgivings. You know, a lot of times we'll just take our kids out of school when those days hit.
That's
that
right.
they just say they ain't got to go through the bullshit.
That's right.
They don't need the headache of people looking at them weird, Stocky.
Shalaki, I used to take my son out of school because it was Thanksgiving and Christmas, and I just used to take him out of school so I could have to deal with all that stuff.
Yep, just bypass all together. Not that big of a deal. No sweat. Not that big of a deal for us. For some people, you know, they might not be able to stomach it. You know, why put your young child, especially in those I don't want to say toddler ages, but adolescent ages, where they could be singled out and interrogated, you know, by their other students or even teachers, not minding their damn business. You know, they don't need the headaches. So we just take them out of school. Some of them are a little bit more grown, a little bit more matured, a little bit more grounded in their foundation of their culture, so they can handle going to school. And when people say, you know, Happy Thanksgiving or Merry Christmas to them, just shut that down.
That's right.
And they don't have to get into a fight at school about it, but they can just, you know, easily enough just let them know, you know, I don't celebrate that stuff.
That's right.
And then when they get asked why, they feel confident in being able to answer them. You know, some of the little kids, or maybe some of the girls, they might not be able to handle some of the social pressures.
That's right.
That doesn't make them wrong. It doesn't make them bad. That just makes them kids.
That's right.
You know, we'll fight you about it. You know, if you want to come to us and start asking, well, why you guys don't do that, we'll tell you all about it. But no problem. No problem. You can learn.
That's right.
Those kids, we shouldn't have to subject our women and children to that kind of scrutiny if we can avoid it. It's not that big of a deal. But they ain't got to answer no questions. They ain't got to answer none of these devil's questions. We'll answer your questions. You can call in the Cross the Line Radio. You can tune in to Black Watch. You can catch Captain's Class. You can knock right on the door. 4221 West North Avenue.
That's
Milwaukee,
right.
Wisconsin, Unit 101. Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 53209.
That's right.
You can call us up 414-289-3869.
That's right.
You know, leave that for, you know, for the men. Like I had one dude one day, this is kind of off topic a little bit. I was at the store, I was at a Whole Foods. Shit don't pop off at Whole Foods. You know, that's not the environment for it. That's not the crowd. You might get 1 in 100, you know, real nigga university graduates that go into those environments. But I have my nephew with me, little baby nephew, little dude. You know, so obviously I'm not out there looking for the smoke. We're getting some lunch. I have my cover on. So it's got this big old shield. It's got one of these sitting on the back of it, big and proud, right? I'm not. We're not Hellenistic. We're not Hellenistic over here. Like we're not obeying being outlawed to observe our culture and to practice exercise. So this one devil comes up and he says, you know, free Palestine. Like, what does that got to do with me? I hate both of them. I ain't got no love for none of them. What the hell are you saying that to me? And then he just walks away. He says it. He says all effeminate and then just walks away like he just did something. I'm like, I'm just gonna look around. Why even me? And I remember what I had, you know, that my covers got that big old shield on it that just vexes their spirit.
That's right.
So I go back up to him. I'm like, dude, next time at least stay for the conversation. You're gonna say some shit like that. You don't know me at all. It's we're not little kids.
That's right.
And we take this just as serious. So when we run these scribes and Pharisees through the ringer, it's for a legitimate reason. So you got things like Gorilla Hebrew, Purple Niggas. Who else we got? You got Candy Canes. You got a lot of breakoff groups that you'll see us publicly shaming because there needs to be that distinction in who's teaching the law, even the least of the law, who's teaching it, who's teaching men and women how to keep the law. It needs to be divided. Shit, and there's a scripture for that too, Salaki. Damn. Salaki, give me 1 second. What would this say?
Salaki said.
Good.
Are you looking for the scripture that says, in the time you ought to be teachers, you need one to teach?
That's a good one to use, but I'm looking for, it's more so of, and not just heresies must come. That's another one that I think kind of fits into this, but it needs to be openly publicized who we are and who we are not. There is a division that is necessary to take place publicly so that you can see that we're not them. Nobody would argue if we were to say this about like the Roman Catholic Church. If we were to talk about all the abuse that goes on there and how, according to the law, those places should be shut down.
That's right.
But when we do it against other Israelites, other individuals, or other organizations, we get, the criticism of, well, you're all brothers, you can't be tearing each other down, blah, blah, blah. A lot of people would rather hide the mess, sweep it under a rug, talk about it behind closed doors, and they are going to actively teach people wrong because as the leader of those organizations, these men were breaking the law. Nasty Nate, he was the leader, the active leader of the organization that he started when he broke off from a break-off of the UPK. Back in the 90s. He was the active leader of that organization, and he was locking up innocent black men on charges that he filed against them. As the active leader of that organization, he was breaking God's laws.
Go
ahead.
I got 1 Corinthians 11:19.
Let me get there with you. 1 Corinthians 11. So when we say that we are not affiliated with anybody, any organization, any individual, like there's a reason why. 11 and 19.
Turn to one count.
That works for this. I'm thinking of something else. Let's still read this. We'll still read this, but there's another one that I'm thinking of. I'm gonna try to get that up before time runs out. But yeah, Baba Kusha, if you could.
The book of 1 Corinthians chapter 11 verse 19. For there must be also heresies among you, that they which are approved may be made manifest among you.
That's such a heavy and important scripture to use in these situations, because again, he's talking about the same thing that we're talking about. There needs to be that very public division on display to show who's right, who's wrong. Somebody has to be right here. Somebody has to be wrong here. Like there's that's a necessity too. Just in any war, any conflict, you're gonna have one person who, despite how it might look to the public eye, one person who started that fight, one person who's got to finish that fight. And in keeping up with upholding the law and the culture of Israel, that this just kind of goes with that. These heresies, unfortunately, must come. As ugly as they're going to be,
as disgusting of the details that we get from some of these people, I never wanted to know half of this shit about these guys. I would have been just fine knowing nothing about pagan kids. I could have lived the rest of my life without ever having to hear about that. And pink underwear. It's disgusting what these people are doing to this reputation of Israel. So when we point that out, we put that under a magnifying glass and we splatter it all over social media, whether you like it or not. This needs to be exposed. Otherwise, you're going to continue letting these so-called leaders, we don't consider them leaders. We don't acknowledge their authority at all. But these so-called leaders they're gonna get away with committing these crimes, and they're gonna give allotment for other people to use them as an excuse for them to live out theirs. That's how they ended up getting in that condition too. When Gorilla came from GMS. Look at GMS. Look at all the crazy encounters people have had with them. Some of their messages, I can't remember the last time I seen a video by them that actually sought a video out by them. The one that I'm thinking of, I think it's probably like in 2011, 12 or something like that. But this brother he's active. He's out there on the street talking about, yeah, we're going to take these white women. They're going to sexually assault white women. He said, I'm going to take, and I'm paraphrasing this too, might not be word for word what he said he was going to use or how he was going to do it. But he said that he's going to take a knife and he might poke him a little bit. Like he's talking about committing, can't say the whole thing. He's talking about essaying women.
Salagia, sir.
Good.
And I specifically remember the exact video you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about?
Kind of went con.
They crazy.
And they was basically saying that they was using the scripture of the law of the concubine.
Yep.
As their defense to be able to sleep with women of other races and be able to do the heinous acts that they were planning on doing.
Completely disgusting. Now that's the environment that Gorilla came from. So the fact that he's got some skeletons in his closet, not that surprising. And now in his organization that broke apart, and there was essentially two more organizations that came out of that. You know, you're holding a banner that's supposed to be for the truth that young men and women are flocking to because they feel that they can trust you. And then you're teaching them the examples that you're living are teaching them how to die, how to spiritually destroy yourself, how to physically put your life in jeopardy. These heresies need to happen, unfortunately. But in order that they which are approved may be made manifest among you, so that we can see actual men of God performing the work, keeping these streets safe, keeping these families together, keeping their hands clean, and not, we might have reputations about how mean we are, how we yell at people, got people kissing our boots. I don't know half of the things that they say about us anymore. I think we've heard them about all, but you can't say that we've done any of those. There's never been as far as I've ever heard, against the UPK about breaking the law of again. What would be do we got to say great? Can we just say SA? Do we got to say SA? Can we say that full term?
Con, sir. I believe we have to say SA.
Okay. All right. I just don't want to get us tripped up too much here. We've never had that reputation. We've never had that problem here. As far as I've ever experienced in this school, I've been around for about 10 years. Maybe a little bit over 10 years. No, it's 25 years, about 10 years. Never heard that go down. Never heard about us eating unclean foods, serving unclean foods. I've seen videos of them passing around bacon though at a Purple People Eaters Passover. Gorilla Hebrew, they are on video at the club at a club with they had paid for a section, so they paid for the bottle service for these women to come out. I don't know if it was specifically asked them to dress in such a lewd manner, but it might as well have been at a strip club. Their behavior matched that environment as well. They're on video being exposed for breaking these laws, teaching men to do so. And just the reputations that precede some of these guys. What was the dude? Ben-Amin? I always get these two backwards. Ben-Amin and Yahweh Ben Yahweh. One of them, they were decapitating people in like Florida. I can't remember which one it was. One of them went to Dimona and was doing some crazy things to the women and children out there. Another brother was down south in the United States in the Florida area, unaliving people, like right in the streets. You know what I'm saying? Decapitating.
Slugger.
Good.
I believe Ben-Amin was the one that went over to Israel.
Okay.
And then Yahweh Ben Yahweh was here.
Crazy work, man. Crazy work.
And if I could,
please,
the people that follow Yahweh Ben Yahweh still have that reputation of unaliving people that either they refuse to follow or they will leave their group. They'll try to unalive them.
That's that's the product of poor leadership. That's the product. That's what you get when you don't have decency and order. When you don't have I hate it when people say this, even though it is in the scripture, when you're not dividing the word right. I just hate the way it comes out of their mouth. And nobody to hold them accountable. Nobody to say what you're doing is wrong. That's not how we're supposed to get down. And advising to that we need to change this thing up. So let me get back into Romans here. So now, more specific. Actually, if I could get Romans chapter 2, verse 1, starting at chapter 2, verse 1. There needs to be that division. It needs to be demonstrated. It needs to be displayed so that people know where they're supposed to go. So now if you see this banner over here and you see this banner over here, and this purple and gold banner's got a horrible reputation behind them, like for actual heinous crimes, and then this banner over here that's all all black and gold or black and white or whatever, its worst reputation is they talk mean to people.
That's right.
Like where are you going to send your kids? Who would you expect that would protect them, to teach them properly? Those guys that might talk a little rough, or those guys that will let heathens into the organization, unalive a sister, and leave her body in the woods, and then cover it up, not say nothing about it.
Good, what you're saying is so heavy, because since I've been here in the town in Milwaukee, my son, which I expressed to him last night, that he not only found a group of men that outrank him, but he found a group of uncles that's going to start with him and hold him to an expectation. A lot of people don't have what we have here in the UBK. We got men and women that hold you to a high standard and expect greatness from you. And now because of the men in the UBK who are austere that everybody says nothing but loud, crazy niggas, because my son had that, now he has that expectation of where I got to go out and do great.
That's right. Yeah, clap it up for that brother too. It's Father Peace and also thousand Lacombe here, man. What's the scripture? Raise them up in the way that they're supposed to go, Slaki.
And then they shall not depart. And that boy don't get away with shit.
That's right.
He don't get a pass for nothing. But he's all, we ain't got to lock him in a dungeon. You know what I'm saying? It's especially us, especially these younger young men and women. It's too sweet here in America. America will let you get away with whatever. They'll let you use whatever excuse to do whatever you want. Give you a little slap on the wrist, and let you do it again, and again, and again, and again, and again. And the goal is to not have to learn the hard way. You can avoid lung cancer, like to the best of your abilities. Now, maybe some of the jobs that you work on, maybe there's toxins in the air that end up jacking your life up, but you're gonna have a much better chance of avoiding it if you're not buying cartons of cigarettes.
That's right.
And getting bubble that popcorn lung from them vapes. You know what I'm saying? Like normally nobody's gonna try to blow your brains out if you're not sleeping with their woman. For the most part, right? I think that's a fair statement. Try to shoot your house up if you're their competition selling drugs. Or if you're in the gang. Some of these problems are pretty easily avoidable. Your chances are you're not going to go to jail if you're not stealing. And I know it can be tough out there. It can be hard to find work, especially work that you want to do that's going to pay enough to meet the requirements of basic living conditions. But again, that's why we have organizations like this, so brothers and sisters don't feel that cornered to where they got to go break the law just to try to provide for themselves and their family.
That's right.
Especially here, I know it's gotten tough, dude. We're down to our last dollars and we trying to make it happen, and it's it can be rough, but I'd rather be out here than in jail. Dude, HOC sucked.
Believe me, I know.
HOC sucked. MSDF sucks too.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Them concrete slabs, man, that's not where it's at.
Shalaki, I've been HOC, I've been house correction, I've been prison, I've been MSDF. I've been everywhere.
You took the little Wisconsin tour, huh?
That's right.
And it's unfortunate. It is avoidable though. You don't have to walk down that road.
That's right.
And it can be a tough thing in this day and age. Brothers went through it back then too. That's why these records are so important to review and to put into play, to exercise them, because whatever was written aforetime was written for our learning. We're getting the game. We're getting the game from these brothers. They're trying to help dig us out of this hole. They're trying to help us get out of this mess. And we just, our dumbasses, we just make it so much more difficult. We, the stubbornness, the stiff neck. We make it unnecessary.
Shalaki, and to add on what you were saying, my people are stiff neck people.
Yep. And destroyed for a lack of knowledge.
That's right.
Again, we ain't got to go down that road. But before we go too far, Romans chapter 2, verse 1.
Romans chapter 2, verse 1. Therefore art thou inexcusable, O man, whatsoever thou art that judges, for wherein thou judge another, for thou condemnest thyself.
Again, a lot of people end up telling on themselves.
That's right.
When they try to teach people the law or try to hold them, try to
shake their finger at them for breaking the law, they end up telling on themselves because a lot of times they're doing some of the same things.
That's right.
And they're supposed to be in position of authority that we would answer to, that we would even, that we would look up to for the guidance, for a scripture breakdown, for a clarification on the law. And we're getting think Captain Zarek uses the example a lot of a crooked cop. You got these crooked cops that think that they're, doing the right thing because they're locking people up, but they're also breaking all. They'll lock somebody up for drugs, and then they go sell some of the drugs out of the evidence room, or they'll go make a bust and either plant drugs on people or steal their drugs and sell them back into the streets.
That's right.
You got whole divisions. You got whole cop gangs that are into those kind of rackets. Good.
And this the second part of verse 1 says it all. For thou that judges doest the same thing.
And read verse 2.
Verse 2. And but we are sure that the judgment of God is according to truth against them which commit such things.
We believe that they will pay for what they've done.
That's right.
That they will get that they will answer for their crimes as well. It's not going to be just because you don't see them, being convicted right on the spot at the moment. Listen, sometimes that judgment does happen right now. Bullets be flying everywhere.
That's right.
You don't know what the hell happened. And we can see people, getting all that glory that they thought they had built up, ripped down. Again, gorilla. Prime example of so stupid. Prime example of of being judged by the Most High. This is a brother who had gained a very large following. Again, he started his own organization that were set up in many different cities. And yet, a lot of people that looked up to him for his guidance, for his teaching. He was a good speaker. He was a good speaker, and got the attention of a lot of young men and women that looked up to him, that honored him, that gave him honors, I should say. And then when it got exposed, what he had been up to, while again as the active leader of his organization that he started, that he broke off from a break off of. The very organization he was the leader of, he was committing, biblical crimes. Now, I can't say that he was doing anything necessarily, according to the law of man that would have been considered crimes. I don't think he was extorting anybody. I don't think he had, essayed anybody, things like that. But biblically, what he was doing was against the law. So I could look up.
I believe he was doing things dabbling on the line of prostitution.
Yikes.
And if I could, one thing I know, like whenever I knew they was gonna fall because they wasn't in the UPK.
Right.
But I knew the swiftness of it was gonna be a lot quicker than what I thought when they started breaking down scriptures with hats on their head. When they was completely covering their head trying to break down scriptures,
right? Going
to camp with beanies on,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's when in my mind I was like, okay, the fall is coming a lot quicker than what I thought. So
no, that's an excellent observation. Yeah, I didn't hear too much about some of the other things that he was doing, but prostitution, it makes sense. Some of those things, it kind of fits given what he has been exposed for and what was verified that he had been doing. So again, when people, crying over it, boo hoo, we got to stop tearing each other down. No, he ain't gonna slide for nothing.
Like that brother needs counseling. That brother, he said that he had already repented. And this goes for Nasty Nate. This goes for Tahar. This goes for Rakash Yar. This goes for Gorilla. This goes for all these brothers. They, in order to fix it, we need to gather together as one cohesive body if we are going to make sense, if we are going to galvanize our people. We can't have all these breakoffs, all these divisions. And it's not just brothers that didn't want to, maybe there was a personal, for the most part, it's like personal issues that they just can't get over. So they start their own group with other brothers that like them, that they like. It's clicked up. It's clicked up. In the UPK, we ain't got no cliques. And some groups of brothers that were kind of guilty of that, we saw them get removed too. We saw that get filtered out, because that is a cancer, that is a poison. So now, even though we're up here in Milwaukee, let's just say, and slack it to the men above me, I'm just going to use us as an example here. But let's just say that Milwaukee had our own little name, the MKE, UPK MKE or whatever. That I almost halfway don't want to use this as an example, because that's exactly what was the downfall for these brothers. Like they called themselves one thing that almost distinguished them from the rest of the school. And that's where we can't allow that kind of division. Because then in this, you're going to get different doctrines, you're going to get different allowances for what's allowed, what's not allowed, what's right, what's wrong. And then the whole battle of power too. Again, who should be the leader? Who should get the glory? And people, it's so frustrating to see this part too. Their misconception on what we do here in our rank order. That rank, I almost don't want to be a captain. The shit that they got to deal with. And what they got to face, like, listen, man, I might be cool right here for a while. I got some growing up to do myself too. Right. And I don't need all that drama. That's right. There's a burden that comes with that rank. You are in charge of people's lives, their safety, their stability, their mental and physical health, their children, their finances. Like it's on your shoulders. That's something that I don't see being taken serious outside of these walls. This law gets lived here. It gets exercised. That judgment can come whenever. There was another spot I wanted to hit in Romans. Because of the severity of what happens when you break laws. Many has had sin without themselves, perish without the law. And then people want to bicker about who the law was given for. Nobody argues that it wasn't just given to Israel, and that through Israel these laws should be applied to the rest of the world. This is what we believe is going to. This is going to be the governing system after the smoke settles. Because one aspect of it too is the concept of salvation, but why Jesus died for our sins. I think that's going to be a whole different can of worms to open. Because they say, mainly Christians, but other Israelites do feel this way too. Non-Messianic Israelites who don't believe that Yahweh Shai is our Redeemer, our Lord and Savior, so to speak. And again, sometimes I don't like some of them terms. It just sounds a little too Christian for me, but it's not wrong. Yahweh Shai Mashiach is our Lord and Savior, absolutely. But in Romans chapter 2, it's like I wonder if it might have been 3. Damn.
It's like for time's sake, we'll just get Romans 2:23, please. Yeah, it's 9 o'clock. This will probably be our last scripture. Then we'll close it out here. Romans 22:23. Actually, no, skip down to 25.
Romans chapter 2 and verse 25. For circumcision verily profits if thou keep the law.
If you keep the law, so that physical circumcision. Now, again, you go into the Old Testament with this. It wasn't just about the foreskin being removed as a young boy, 8 days old. It was about circumcision of the heart, which we would know that's your mind that it's talking about. Your understanding, your knowledge of the law. That being taught to you, baptism. Which again is not just being dumped in water and then coming up thinking that, all right, now I'm saved and now I'm clean, now I'm a changed person. If you don't actually change your ways, none of that's going to mean anything. So for circumcision verily profiteth if thou keep the law. That was a physical token that we were given. It's also a spiritual token that we exercise. That demonstrates the difference between us and everybody else. By us keeping the law, by us changing our ways if you had transgressed the law. And again, keeping to our culture. Keep going.
But if thou be a breaker of the law, thou circumcision is made uncircumcision.
Then it's just all for nothing. You got some people who have spent 10, 20, 30 years identifying as an Israelite, putting this into practice, and then they might hear something stupid, something about tithes or something about multiple wives, something about rank and order, and that completely alters their understanding. And now those 10, 20 years that you've dedicated, and for the most part, these are people that are doing it by themselves. They might be in some book clubs or on some phone conferences, checking out some classes, but they're just individuals, calling themselves, Israelites. They're not a part of a body. You can't just be an individual and then say, I'm part of that body of Christ, I'm part of that body of Israel, because you're not getting active. You're not doing anything. You're not applying yourself. The UPK is a very militant organization. We are not civilians. You can be a civilian, even in the school, even in the UPK. Pay your tithes. Help us out with events. There are other ways to help support your nation. You ain't got to get in all black. You ain't got to stand on them street corners. But if you're going to count yourself as an Israelite, you need to have a clear understanding of what the law is, how to apply it, how to utilize it, how to teach it. If you're going to count yourself to try to be a teacher, which you shouldn't do if you're not going to go through these ranks.
That's right.
It's a very dangerous thing. We normally have a disclaimer on a lot of our videos saying, these are trained professionals. Do not do this at home. And then Acts 19? Acts 19 about that demon, that brother that was afflicted with demons, a whole legion of them. And he recognized Yahushua. He even recognized Paul. And he's looking at these other cats that are looking to try to basically baptize him, try to exorcise him, get these demons off him. He's looking at these guys like, I don't know you though. You know what I'm saying? This ain't something that should be taken lightly. Get into class, contact the school near you. Any questions, comments, or concerns, give us a call. Stop by the building. We've got a school in pretty much every major metropolitan city across the board. You kind of can't miss us. And you're running out of excuses about not being able to get a hold of us. Call that number. If nobody picks up, leave a message.
That's right.
Pick up the phone when they call back. If you don't hear from them the next day, or when you think somebody should have gotten a hold, you call them back. And then call them again. And then call them again. And then call them again. I must have called Rapa how long? I was consistent with it.
But there was still some things that I didn't want to change either.
Right.
So I probably missed some of his phone calls. And I didn't get into class right away. I was still I wasn't sure what this whole thing was.
Right.
But I kept on calling because I know what this meant to me. It might mean something different to you. But one thing that we need to be very clear on, which is why we have these classes, is the laws of God versus the laws of men. How to identify them, how to know which ones are applicable to you, your specific circumstances. Again, if you're not a girl, brothers, you ain't got to worry about the things that the girls have to worry about. Sisters, you ain't got to worry about the things that are exclusive to the men, that are exclusive to parents, that are exclusive to kids, that are exclusive to men that are in rank and in authority. So get into class. Stop making excuses. Don't be scared. We're gonna sit there right with you. We can battle this out all day until you get it clearly, until you get it right. Contact a school near you. Pay your goddamn tithes. And the rest of you, I don't know. Shut up. Just shut up. Shut up. Get in the class, man. Come rock with your brothers, man. You want to talk about it? Let's talk about it. You want to battle it out? We can do that amicably as well. Across the Line Radio, Black Watch, America on Fire, Boot Up or Shut Up, Let a Hebrew Speak. It's all over the place. So with that, I will hand the class over to Priest and Officer 1000, my good brother, Rapai Yah.
Security announcements. We are the Isupk starter out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother or sister. When a new brother or sister come into the school, they are off limit for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are to share themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to that brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After this 6 month period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is the commandments, number 18 and verse 21, and Malachi chapter 3, verse 8 to 10.
So if you weren't sure if tithes were a commandment, we just showed you where you can find it.
That's right. Meaning 10th in the Hebrew, ma'asharah. 10th, every penny of any increase the Lord give to the treasury department or teacher. Priestly fund. Free will for the priest, not mandatory, whatsoever amount you would like.
For the priest fund, that's not an obligation for whether you're in the school or not. Anybody can make that donation. I think ours specifically from Milwaukee. Well, we got a treasury department, but I believe we're going through time right now because Cash App was getting a little janky. But you could always donate cash. You could always hit us up electronically. I encourage it.
That's right, I don't want. Upcoming holy convocation.
Slack and things like that too. That's not used, for us to get a new pair of pants and shoes and shit either. It's that might go to water for camp. Stove bread for the Sabbath service. More incense, more coals.
That's right.
The utility bills to keep these lights on. You know what I'm saying? It's not. I can't stress it enough. You'll never know what we're talking about until you hear. This is not that kind of organization.
That's right.
Please continue.
Upcoming holy convocation.
All right, so we have the memorial of the blowing of the trumpets coming up Sunday, September 21st.
That's right.
So get ready, get in contact again with the school near you. If you need any accommodations met, if you have any contributions you can make, contact the school near you.
Which also, Ottawa, is on the bill.
Check your bulletin boards.
Bulletin board in the hallway. If anyone wants to be a trooper, start wearing all black, meaning black boots, black shirt, black pants, black headband or scarf. And with that said, a margin, which means to stand, we gonna give a cursive salute to the teacher, a margin to bot, a margin, rock, Yahaba Shimya Shabakta,
Yahaba Shimya Shabakta,
Yasmata, dismiss.
Ooh, 27 Club.
All right, gang, let's really nail it this time. Here we go. A 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4.
Been in this shit for some years, I ain't never left. Nigga try to save his life like he's scared of death. I got Hillstar on my body, bitch, I'm heaven sent. Hey, this Isupk Mke nothing, we on fellowship. Been in this shit for some years, I ain't never left. Nigga try to save his